Welcome, class, to lesson 111, subtract greater numbers. So our goal for today is that strong mathematicians can use methods for ungrouping to subtract two whole numbers. So we did some subtracting before, now we're getting to numbers that are really big. So great numbers, which is kind of fun to start, which means when we start to subtract, there's lots of things that we need to watch and take our time as we go through. So in your notebook with your pencil, today's date, and these notes, they might look familiar, but it's always a good reminder to write these down to help us out. So when writing a problem, the bigger number needs to be on top. So if you have two numbers, you want to make sure you put the bigger number on top. Also, in order to subtract, the same or bigger number must be on top of each place value. So you had the same before, when there's more on the floor, go next door. So that's kind of a rule we keep in mind, that we can't subtract from the bottom to the top. It's always going to be the top minus the bottom. And if we don't have enough, we have to do some ungrouping that we've worked on in previous lessons. So feel free to pause the video right now and write down these notes. With our examples today, we're going to go through our directions. So estimate, solve, check with inverse operation. So there's a lot of parts that are going on here right now, which is great, which is fine. Since we have bigger numbers, we've estimated them two different ways. We've estimated them to the nearest 10,000 first. So with an answer of that one, we estimated to 10,000, so give us an answer of 20,000, which is kind of a bigger estimate. So we're going to have a little further than our normal answer because we chose a really large place value. We might choose it to bring it over one and round to the nearest 1,000, which then turned it into 52,000 minus 30,000, so a little bit closer, but this will give us 22,000. So between these two, which one would probably be a closer estimate? Our answer is probably most likely to be closer to this one. Are both estimates acceptable? The answer is you betcha. So now that the estimate's out of the way, we're going to now go to the solve portion of it. So we're going to subtract 2 minus 1, and our 1's place value is 1. 2 minus 7, there's more on the floor, so I need to go next door. I have a 0 here, so I have to go to the next door because they're not home, it looks like. And trade in 1,000, so make that a 1. I'm taking 1 away. 1,000 gives me 10 tens. If I have 0, I now have 10 tens. But I'm not done yet. I need to trade one of these tens in and get it, or one of those hundreds in, and that would give me 10 tens to the 2 I already have, so that would make it 12 tens. 12 minus 7 is 5. 9 minus 5 is 4. 1 minus 9, can't do that because there's more on the floor, so I need to go next door. Change my 5 to a 4. My 1, I get to add 10 more. So that would make it 11. And now 11 minus 9 is 2. And 4 minus 2 is 2. So I have an answer of 22,451. So now I solved. Check. Last part is check with the inverse operation. So since I was using subtraction, I'm going to check with addition. So these two numbers I should be able to take 29,571 plus 22,451. I'm going to now add those numbers up, and if I add it up, hopefully it matches with that number right there. 1 plus 1 is 2. In my tens, 7 tens plus 5 tens is 12 tens. So I put the 2 here and the 1 up top. 100 plus 500 plus 400 would give me 10 hundredths. So my 0 goes in the hundreds place value. My 1 goes on top of the 1,000. 1,000 plus 9 would be 10,000 plus 2 would be 12,000. So I have a 2 right here, and the 1 goes on top of the 10,000. 1 10,000 plus 2 10,000s plus 2 more 10,000s would give me 5 10,000. So I've got 52,022 when I added. I started with that, so that means it looks like it should be correct. So you notice my answer of 22,451, if I look at my estimates now, said it's pretty close to both of this one and this one, but you notice it's closer to the estimate that's a little more precise, a little more accurate to the numbers that we're subtracting. So pause the video right now, take all 3 steps of the estimating, the solving, and checking with inverse operation. We had numbers that were to the 10,000 last time through subtracting. Now we're subtracting even bigger numbers that go to the 100,000 place value. So our rule again, estimate, solve, check with inverse operation. So I have two estimates, one estimate to the 100,000 or another estimate to the 10,000. If you look, which one do you think is going to be closer? If you guessed 10,000 rounding, that one's going to most likely be closer. So let's see what our numbers are. We would have 700,000 as an estimate. That would be acceptable. Or a little more precise of 860,000 minus 180,000. So we have 0, 0, 0, 0. Go next door because there's more on the floor. 8 and 6. So notice these numbers are relatively close, but we know that this one's probably giving me a more accurate estimate. So our estimating is done now. Let's go to the solve. So 4 minus 8, there are more on the floor, so I need to go next door to the tens place value. Undo my 5. I'm going to take 1 away to make that a 4. If I traded 1 10 in, how many 1s do I get? I get 10 plus the 4 I have here, making this 14. 14 minus 8 is 6. 4 minus 4 is 0. 2 minus 9, there's more on the floor, so I need to go next door. So you trade in 1,000, so that would make this 2. 1,000 gives me 10 hundredths. So plus the 2 I have, which we now have 12 hundredths. 12 minus 9 is 3. 2 minus 2 is 0. 6 minus 8, there's more on the floor. I need to go next door. 8 turns into a 7. 6 would make it 16, because if I trade in 100,000, I get 10 10,000s, plus the 6 I have giving me 16. 16 minus 8 would be 8, and 7 minus 1 would be 6. So I have an answer of 680,306. If I look at my estimates quickly, yeah, it looks like it could be a correct answer. I'm not 100% positive, but my estimates are close to what I've actually solved. The best way to check to see if my answer is correct is by using inverse operation. So I take my answer of 680,306, so 680,306 plus 182,948. I'm going to add those numbers together. So 6 plus 8 is 14, so 4 here, carry the 1. 1 plus 0 is 1, plus 4 is 5. 3 plus 9 is 12, so a 2 here, carry the 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. 8 plus 8 is 6, carry the 1. 1 plus 6 is 7, plus 1 is 8. So I have 863,254. That matches that number right there. So I feel pretty good about my answer because I checked it with the inverse operation. So you can pause the video right now and write down this another example to help you out when you're subtracting these really big numbers. And we have one more example, a word problem. Like I said, now that we know the skill, it's being able to apply the skill in a word problem that helps us out. Said Bob has 3,226 marbles in his collection. Maya has 1,867 marbles. How many more marbles does Bob have than Maya? Show a reasonable estimate and check answers with inverse operation. So am I adding here or am I subtracting? Bob has 3,000. That's why I'm reading the problem again, because now that I know what the question is and I've read a little bit about it, I want to think, am I adding or am I subtracting? Bob has 3,226 marbles in his collection. So here's Bob's big collection. Maya has 1,867 marbles. So she has a collection, but it's a little smaller. How many more marbles does Bob have than Maya? So they want to know, Bob obviously has more, but they want to know how many more. So I'm going to subtract. So I'm going to write my problem first. 3,226 minus 1,867. And before I do that, I want to estimate, see some numbers that I want to estimate. So my estimation looks like, I think that a good estimate would be 3,000 minus 2,000. I'm going to estimate to the nearest 1,000. So I should get an answer somewhere around 1,000 would be a pretty good estimate, give or take somewhere in that area. All right, so there's my estimate. And now I want to check my answer with the inverse operation, but I can't check my answer with the inverse operation until I find my answer. So let's go for it. 6 minus 7 I cannot do, so because there's more on the floor, I need to go next door. Trade in a 10. That gives me 1 10 left, which gives me 10 more ones, plus the 6 ones I already have, which would make it 16. 16 minus 7 is 9. 1 minus 6, I don't have, there's more on the floor, I need to go next door. Trade in 100, so now I have 100, but I get 10 10s, plus to the 1 10 I have, which would give me 11 10s. 11 minus 6 is 5. Said 1 minus 8, there's more on the floor, so I need to go next door. I'm going to trade in 1,000, which now I would have 2. And for every 1,000, I get 10 hundredths. Plus the 100 I have would give me 11 hundredths. 11 minus 8 is 3. And 2 minus 1 is 1. So I've got 1,359 marbles. It looks pretty reasonable to my estimate, so I think my estimate looks pretty good. And now I need to check with inverse operation. So I'm going to take my answer of 1,359 plus 1,867 and add these up and see if I get the number of marbles that Bob has. 9 plus 7 is 16, so 6, carry the 1. 1 plus 5 is 6. 6 plus 6 is 12, so that puts the 2 here and the 1 up top. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 8 is 12, so the 2 goes there, the 1 on top. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. 3,226, that's what he gets. So my check with inverse operations, I feel pretty good about my subtraction, but now I need to make sure I answer the question. It says, how many more marbles does Bob have than Maya? So I need to make sure I have my answer, 1,359. This is a word problem, so it needs a label. And the label would be more, and it'd be important to have the word more, marbles. If I just said this many marbles, that wouldn't be correct because Bob has this many marbles, but he has this many more marbles than Maya. So you're going to pause right now and write down this information to help you out with your problems that you'll be solving here shortly. So now it's your turn. So you're going to estimate, solve, check with inverse operation. 86,263 minus 47,182. So you can pause the video right now and write down an estimate, and then solve it, and then check with inverse operation. And another problem for you to estimate, solve, and check with inverse operation is 573,486 minus 294,294. So pause it right now and give it your best attempt to estimate, then solve it, and then check with inverse operation. Also a word problem for you here. So Billy has 6,358 toys in his collection. Steve has 9,263 toys. How many more toys does Steve have than Billy? Show a reasonable estimate and check your answer with inverse operation. Pause it right now. Use your examples to solve this problem. Sid, as always, if you have any questions or comments or concerns, feel free to share those with me. That way we can help address those and help you feel more confident in your subtraction ability. Also, if you have any strategies that you use that helped you, make sure you jot those down that you can share with other students who may also be struggling with this skill.